Welcome back. I'm LJ Shepard. You're listening to Swiss Money Radio on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. I got Centerio and Michael in the building talking a lot of good things, a lot of things to help you become an entrepreneur, a lot of things that to get your mind right as an entrepreneur. And Centerio's just in the building just to guide you in the right path as that entrepreneur, because you need a coach, you need a mentor, you need certain things, because I know he doesn't want you to fail. And his thing is helping individuals get into the right position of retirement, get into the right position of creating wealth, get into the right position of becoming a better entrepreneur. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that being said, and I'm gonna go to any one of you guys can pick this up. When we talk about coaching, when we talk about helping individuals get into the right, because you both sound like coaches. What is that golden nugget that you learned in your respective careers that you could pass down to somebody else as to coach them up to become a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I'll start. One thing I had to realize when I came out of education, because when I came out of education, I considered myself that super educator.
Yeah.
That high flyer. I started off as a teacher, taught for 3 years, and I went directly into administration.
Okay.
Because they said, Mike, I know you could be a great administrator. I know you could be a great administrator. I got into school administration, and I started flying up the ladder really quickly. And before I knew it, I'm at the district office level. You got the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and then you got me. And it's like, oh, wow, And then coming out of it, I had to realize I'm not that guy anymore. So I need someone who can guide me through that. So if you decide to do that and go into your own business, you have to realize that you're not going to be that person when you jump into it. You're not going to be superstar person at that time. So you have to realize that I need someone to help me guide. So you have to be open and willing to accept guidance. And I'm open and willing to accept guidance. Even now, it's been a year, and I still know that I need a lot more coaching, because I want to take it to exactly what Centario was talking about, where, when I retire, I'm good to go. I want to be on the beach somewhere in Cabo laying out,
Right. Yeah.
And so in order to get there, I know that I'm going to need people to help me through that. And,
Okay.
and you just, when you step out there, you have to be willing to accept help,
And you have your mentors right now on your team right now.
Absolutely. Like I said, I have some that are in the business, but I also mentioned, like I talked about my friend. I consider him more of a friend because he's more of a brother up in the Baltimore area who owns his own IT company.
Okay.
We talk often about, what do you need to do next, Mike? This is what you need to do. This, and he won't say, and he's a lot like me, because I don't tell people this is what you need to do. Here's what I advise you to do.
Okay.
And just because someone gives you advice doesn't mean you have to follow that exact roadmap. But you take nuggets from them. Take certain things that they tell you and make it work for you. Because what's good for me may not be exactly good for you.
And I'm glad you went into that direction of not taking everybody's advice. And I know in the field that you're in, you get statements. Mm-hmm. And you get portfolios of individuals, and some from that small business owner, and some of the advice that another industry, and I speak on this because I was in the industry myself. There's a couple of advice that, wait, why did you do this with your money?
Right.
So speak on some of that, of getting right advice to help an individual with their own personal money or their journey into small business ownership.
Sure. And unfortunately, that does happen a lot in my industry. A lot of people come into the financial services industry with the idea of making a lot of money, and they take advantage of the client in a lot of cases. So what I try to do to always not be that guy is take as much time as I need to get a crystal clear understanding of what the client actually wants. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what I said earlier. If you're putting the client first and you're asking questions, okay, if we're talking about retirement, well, when do you want to retire? What's the age? What does retirement really look like? Because some people say, well, I want to travel the world. I want to be in Cabo.
Yep.
The next person may say, I just want to be able to pay my bills at home. I'm going to stay home, relax, and spend time with my grandchildren.
Yeah.
So getting a crystal clear picture of what they actually want, and then when it comes to their portfolios, your job as an advisor is to match the portfolio to their objective.
Okay.
So if your portfolio, if your recommendations aren't doing exactly, or if it doesn't get them as close to their goal as possible, then you gave them the wrong recommendation. You couldn't have put that person first.
And it's funny when you say one person might want to go to Cabo and another person might want to go here. That can happen within husband and wife.
Absolutely.
And I think
a lot.
I think that is probably the worst. From my experience as a FA, it was just like one wanted a boat and the other one had no clue that they wanted a boat.
Right. And the good thing is, at least have that conversation when you're 10, 15, 20 years away from retirement.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you're 2 years away. And now you guys realize we have completely different visions of what our retirement is going to be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we all know I'm married, right? Marriage is about compromise. Compromise doesn't stop when you retire.
Yeah, man.
So if we can get a clear understanding of what you guys are going to be doing, but we've got 20 years to work on that compromise and build the portfolio and build your retirement plan the way we want, it typically works out. But you're right. It's always funny.
I always thought those conversations was the funniest because I always said, you know something? I think I need to leave the room and you guys need to work that out.
That's right.
And then I'll come back and see where the middle ground is. And that was the kind of conversations that I had all the time at the dinner table.
We end up being a therapist. In a lot of cases,
the therapist, your marriage counsel, anything that has to do with putting people back together.
That's right.
Because husband and wives are always on two different planes when it comes to money. Mm-hmm. One more thing I want you to touch on is death in the family. Mm. When there's a death in the family and there's money floating, how hard could that be to get everybody in one compromising position? To say this is what we're going to do, because I know a lot of times it's like herding cats. And when money is involved and if it's a lot of money, that could be very, very horrible.
Right.
So touch on that a little bit of how you bring individuals together on that.
So again, that conversation should be had prior to someone passing. And all of the beneficiaries, they need to know who you are as the advisor. Because, you know, let's say they've got an insurance policy with me. They might have mutual fund accounts, something like that. But they also have a 401k, a pension, retirement assets through their employer. So a lot of times my job is to simply know where all of the assets are and who the beneficiaries are and make sure that my client, who may no longer be here, I know what their wishes were. So a will, a trust is very, very important. Because if you've got a trust listed as the beneficiary, I don't care who's arguing or who's upset. The money goes into the trust, and it's distributed as the client would have wanted. So they're controlling the money from the grave. I think that's the easiest way to eliminate a lot of confusion. But in a lot of times in our community, we don't know how to do
those
that.
Conversations.
Yeah. Yes. But you want to have those conversations early. It's uncomfortable, but I mean, do you want to leave your husband or wife?
It's necessary.
Right, you know.
Well, I'm going to switch gears a little bit because I know we're coming out to the end, but just switching gears just a little bit. Mike, there's a lot of things in the community I know you want to help out and want to be involved with. Give me a couple of things that you're looking for that somebody might be listening that they could use you and use your services to help out in the community or make a banner or do something. So tell me what's in your heart on that end.
You know, I am big on community, whatever community I live in. We moved up here about 6 years ago from Charleston, South Carolina. And I was very involved in my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Of course he has to say it. You can't just say fraternity and not even mention the name.
Yeah, absolutely have to mention the oldest and the coldest, man. I have to do that. But, you know, the one thing that, you know, Alpha taught me was you be involved in the community in whatever capacity that you're doing, whether it's in education or whether it's in entrepreneurship. And the one thing I want people to understand is that, you know, my goal is to ultimately be able to give back to the community and do what we can to help in the community anyway. Now, does that mean you're going to come to International Minute Press and Mike's going to give you 50 free flyers?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean but it doesn't mean I won't either.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever I can do to promote your community event, that's one way that we can do that at an affordable price. You know, it's definitely, you know, because oftentimes when you want to promote your event, you think, oh, I just need to get these flyers and hand them out. That's great. When you give somebody a black and white sheet, you know, they take that black and white sheet and I look at it and they throw it away. Yep. Whereas if I give you something that's tangible that they say, oh, I need to hold on to this for, you know, cards, stop business cards. You know, people get these flimsy business cards. I'll put that in my pocket. Yeah. But if I can talk to you about something that, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is Mike Williams. Like, you know, they just remember that. So the one thing we want to do is make sure that we get out and we help people promote whatever they're trying to do.
Okay. And we was just talking about something off air about your program, the $50 billion from the New York Life. Yeah. Explain that and who's it touching and I see the pin on your lapel. So please explain that to the listeners.
Sure. So New York Life, it's a lot of history with New York Life. So New York Life hired the first black agent back in 1957. So, you know, when you think about Jackie Robinson, our Jackie Robinson was a brother named Cirillo McSween. So fast forward to now, New York Life employs more African-American advisors than any other firm.
That's awesome.
And our mission, it started about 6 years ago, was to create, you know, financial literacy in our community. And we set a goal of $50 billion being the starting point. So they tracked all of the business written by all of the African-American agents. And it took us about 5.5 years, but we put $50 billion of new life insurance on the books amongst our community. That's so awesome. You got to understand, at some point, that's money that's going to go back in our community. Those awesome. Are $1 million checks that are going to be delivered, and we're going to pay off homes. I've actually seen it. Some of my clients receive checks. They've paid off mortgages. Some people bought a home for the first time. Wow. Children's or grandchildren's college funds were funded.
That's awesome.
And retirement. So our 50B movement is really created around economic empowerment and putting a plan in place and having advisors that are going to be there when that day comes, because it's going to come for everyone.
Absolutely.
Just making sure we're there, we're guiding you through it so you make smart decisions with the legacy and you honor that person the way they would have wanted it.
And that's what this show is all about. The show is about economic empowerment because, like you said earlier, these are conversations we don't have at the dinner table, especially growing up. Yeah. Politics and money was a hush-hush thing. I know that was in my house.
Mine too.
So when you don't have those conversations, and then now you're in your 30s and your 40s, just having, this is like being born again, like, wow, this is all new. I have no clue what you're talking about. Right. So we have to teach individuals and then put the action into place. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of skepticism comes in, because we have to teach you first. Yeah. And if we have to teach you first, then it might take a little bit longer to close that sale or close that deal or, you know, buy your first home and things like that, where, you know, individuals across the street are buying homes in their 20s. Yeah. Which that was, you buying a home at 20? You know, that never happened. So we're going to come back with one more segment. I want to give you guys opportunities to shout out your business, where they can find you, your numbers, your apps, or whatever website you got. I want to make sure you guys get the love on there. We'll be right back. Swiss Money Radio. I'm your host, LJ Shepard, WDRBmedia.com. We doing it big right here, so stay tuned, and we'll come right back.